Hey y'all, I want to talk about Tomba Special Edition. This just got released. I played it on the Switch, and this is a series I'd heard of before in the past. It was started as a PlayStation franchise. There was like 2 games. The first one seemed to be more like that 2D, 3D element. The second one seemed to look like it was more in 3D. I never played them before, but I've heard of them. And so when I had the opportunity to try this out, I was really curious to see how I was gonna feel about it. Now, y'all know me, I'm not a huge platformer guy in terms of like 2D platforming. I tend to like more of the 3D platforming, like a Spyro. And so I was going into it expecting to not like it all that much. But I gotta say, I was kind of pleasantly surprised as far as like 2D experiences go. This gives you a lot because you are maneuvering between the foreground and the background quite a bit. The way you maneuver around kind of works pretty well. You can just grab things and climb yourself up on top of rooftops or jump down. So being able to maneuver around with that sort of freedom and flexibility was surprising for this kind of game, but it was also really nice. And, you know, you have your typical stuff where you swing across fences, you take down enemies. But the way you take down most enemies is like you jump on top of them and like do a flip and then like knock them down. Whether it's like breaking open eggs or like fighting little goblins and things like that are around or fighting dwarves. It was really cool to kind of experience that. And I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing this over and over again. And I was totally fine with it. And it was strange too because it is sort of like an RPG. You're not necessarily leveling up per se, but you are going to different areas, and then these areas you'll find tools that you need to help you in another area, whether it's like main story or not. And I was playing it linear, but as I was playing it, I was getting quests, and it was an interesting experience I never really had in terms of like doing a 2D platformer and like running into a quest, and they're like, oh, here's your quest, collect this so you can get to the next area, and then you having to kind of double back to the area you were before to collect it. So it made it somewhat open worldy kind of in that way, because a lot of it required you to go back to places you visited before, but it's not like you were going to a map necessarily to go from one level to the next. It was all kind of seamless. Even though it was section-based, and the sections felt like their own level, you can easily like go and walk all the way back to the beginning if you wanted to. That option was there. It wasn't like do this specific quest and then, all right, you're done, next area, collect all things in these areas. It wasn't quite like that. And I appreciate it because it was so different, and I can understand why people liked it. And I hope more people get to try this game out that have never tried it before, like myself. The cool thing about the Special Edition, it does have the rewind feature, which a lot of these re-releases do now. You can fully rewind the game, and the rewind feature in this is really good. It doesn't just rewind you a little bit. You get to choose like how far back you want to rewind, and it gives you like 4 or 5 different screens to rewind to, and that saved me a lot with my experience of this game, because otherwise I probably would have like been frustrated and quit out a lot sooner than I did. So being able to give me that option was awesome. There's places you can save in the game, specific signs and all that, but you can actually just go into the menu itself and save that way. So that was cool. They give you like 3 slave slots. There's loading screen, and the experience has some extra features, which is really cool. You get to watch videos and developers talking about like how they made the game and all that. They have concept art from like Japan and America in terms of like box art, character art. You see different advertisements, and basically see how much cooler Japan had it in terms of advertising than we did here. And that was all cool to see. I like when you have galleries and all that stuff, and the actual drawings of them trying to figure out the levels and the level design. And I'm glad we're seeing that in these games now, and I feel like that should be more prevalent in games as we're making them currently, besides the ones in the past. So if you like an RPG experience but are not too much into 2D platformers, I would say at least give this a shot, because if you're gonna like one, this would be it. You know, there's a little bit more guidance in terms of what to do. It's not a Metroidvania. You're not like hopping around all over the place and all that and just trying to open the next room and that sort of thing. It is more of an RPG action sort of experience that just is kind of on a 2D, 3D plane, a 2.5D plane, if you will. And it's out available now. I think it's on multiple platforms. Again, this only is the first game. It doesn't contain the second one. It's just original Tomba. But be sure to check it out, y'all. It's definitely worth your time.